Hi, and welcome to episode 78 of M1 Yarns and the Michigan Makers Podcast. I'm Jamie, your host, and the yarn dyer behind m1yarns.com. If you are new here, welcome. This is a mostly knitting related podcast. A little bit of yarn spinning related stuff because I'm new to that and excited to share my journey through learning. And then a few other creative makes along the way. So let's get started with what I'm wearing today because this is fresh off the needles. Let me stand up. Fresh off the needles, this is the ass warmer skirt by Colorway Knits, I think it is. I'll insert all the information below. But I just finished knitting this. Every year end, I gather my scraps and I do a Scrappy project. And this was this year's. I've knit this skirt before, about a month or two ago. It's bulky, so it's really cozy and warm, which is great for Michigan winters. But I held multiple strands of yarn together to create a marled effect. I'll get closer to show you. So anyway, every year I do a Scrappy project, and this was this year's Scrappy project. So I'll insert a photo of all the yarn that I used. Did I add in any extra? And I held like typically 4 or 5 strands together at a time to create a bulky weight yarn held of many strands. So that was really fun, and I love this because I can layer it with some tights and keep my bum warm, just as the name implies. So if you're interested in my notes, my project page on Ravelry is linked below. Speaking of where to find me, you can find all the links to everywhere I am in the world below. And today I've got a whole bunch of new and quirky things. And then also I have finally sat down and done my planning for 2024 for my Make 9, which I know some people find kind of annoying on Instagram. But for me, I find that it creates like an intentional thought process to set goals, look at what's missing from my wardrobe, look at what yarn I have that needs to basically be purposed and stop collecting dust on the shelf. And so I really like it for like the year ahead kind of thing. Then I also like it so that at the year end, which I did in the last episode, okay, I can kind of look at my Make 9 for, in this case, 2023, and say, well, which ones have I made? Which ones did I cast on and frog? And which ones did I decide, not for me? So let's start with that. I will insert on the screen, what do you call it? A collage of what I have decided are my Make 9 for 2024. And I'll list them down below in the order from the upper left corner, which I think, if you're watching, would be here. Upper left corner, going across, and then middle row, and then bottom row, left to right. So some of these have been in my queue for quite a while. Some of these are new to my queue. And as I go through the year, assuming I make them, which I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 that I don't, I will walk you through, hopefully I'll remember to tell you why I picked it. And yeah, I think they're all really good patterns. I will point out one of them, the Cozy Classic Raglan, I have made several times before, and I think it is just such a great template, if you will. You can kind of do a lot to use it as a guide and then let your imagination run wild. And I'm going to be using some yarn that I dyed about 2 years ago. That's going to be something just really fun and fast. The Stonecrop Cardi, I've been wanting to make that for quite some time. And now that I am very comfortable with steeking, that should be really fun. And I think it's called Lumme. I'll insert a photo of it here. That I intentionally chose because I want to use my own hand spun yarn for the contrast color in the yoke. So yeah, so that's just a little bit brief, you know, summation of my knitting goals for next year. Typical Jamie, there's color work, sweaters, and stockinette with a little bit of texture. So that's my comfort zone, and it makes me happy. All right, I thought I'd share with you guys something that I found really funny. About a month or so ago, I ordered a Lazy Kate, which if you're not a yarn spinner, basically, and I'll insert a photo of the one that I bought. This was my second Lazy Kate. The first one didn't fit my bobbins, which I'll show you in a minute. And if you're not a yarn spinner, this segment is going to be very brief, so just hang in there with me. But I had read that for my electric eel wheel 6, which is the e-spinner that I use to spin yarn, that a certain laser printed, that's what it is. Laser printed Lazy Kate, where you put your bobbins on each kind of pole and then they let them spin while you ply the yarn, was the way to go. It was available. It was inexpensive, so I ordered it. I tried it. Not impressed. Because it's so lightweight, with the pull of the tension on the yarn, it kind of like, especially once it got emptier on the bobbin, it just felt like it was flying around everywhere. Well, I said there's got to be a better way. I happened to be on a Facebook group for people who have that e-spinner, and someone basically posted a photo very similar to this, where they got a basket. I think it was like a little square basket, so it could only fit one bobbin. They got it at the dollar store, and then they got some dowel rods, and they made their own Lazy Kate, so you can see it spins. So I did the measurements of my bobbins, which you can see here. I think these are like about 4.5. Yeah, I think they're like 4 1/4 inches wide. I went on Amazon and searched woven basket because I knew I wanted something like this. And then I knew I needed length for 2 because I wanted to do 2-ply. Then I got dowels and I created my own Lazy Kate. So now I can sit on the basket and I can just pull, you know, I can even prop it up if I want, like that, or I can lay it flat. I have options. And then when it's not in use, I can literally use the basket for like storage purposes. Maybe for spinning supplies and stuff. So very inexpensive. If you are a spinner, highly recommend this. And yeah. So if you've been with me the last couple episodes, you know that I'm knitting this vest. I'll insert a photo of the design sample. This is called the Chouquettes by Rui Yamamuro. And I really love the texture. I really love the aesthetic. But like I said before, it's super slow. And so I'm just trying to apply a lot of patience and just enjoy the journey. But I think this is the back. I am kind of at the, I just started back on the front. So once I get the front down to this length, then I'll join in the round, and I think it's like a long waistband of ribbing. And then you somehow, you pick back up along here where these stitches are on hold and do like a ribbed edge. And then I need to add the turtleneck, the ribbed turtleneck that I forgot to do at the beginning. So this, if you're not familiar, this texture is the Trinity stitch, and it's knit by knit purl into one stitch and then knit 3 together on the next stitch. And so that's why it's a pretty slow knit. my goal, let's see, today's the 20th of December. My goal is to finish this by New Year's Eve, which is, if I just concentrate on this, I guess it's possible maybe. But I do have some other things going on, of course. So let's talk about that. I can't remember if I talked about this last time or not, but I have been wanting to knit a hot water bottle cover. And if you are American, you may not have heard of this. It's very popular in Europe. My mom is English, so I grew up with one of these in my bed. Typically, you kind of put it near your feet in case you get cold feet at night. You put, typically, like you boil a kettle full of water and then fill that. But if you do that, the gasket on the cap tends to wear over time. So anyway, I haven't had a hot water bottle in years, and I thought it might be nice. So I ordered this on Amazon, and I am designing a cover for it because that's what this is. And I'm just using some old stash yarn. This, held with this, I honestly don't even know what it is. I know it's not my own hand-dyed yarn, but what I chose it for was basically something that I can do like an initial design prototype for the water bottle and then knit it again to kind of perfect my design using my own hand spun yarn. The reason I'm designing a cover is all of the designs that I saw on Ravelry did not exactly fit the bill as far as what I wanted. And so I thought, you know what? I'll just create my own. So if all goes well, I'm going to publish this pattern soon and we'll go from there. So I'll keep you posted. I'm excited though. This is really fast. I think I only cast this on maybe 2 days ago. I had taken a couple days to write down some notes, get my thoughts together on dimensions and construction and whatnot. This is going to create a flap. So anyway, we'll circle back. We'll talk about that. Okay, this is going to be a quick episode because I am short on time for my day and I am losing daylight and it's not doing me any favors as far as how I look. So the last thing I want to talk about is something that I am trying to knit for a friend of mine who is expecting a child. So Nadia, if you're watching and I have yet to give you a gift, just turn this off now. Okay, so my friend Nadia is expecting a baby, and Nadia was one of my good friends that went to Rhinebeck with me, and so that was such a great time to just spend quality time together with friends and just bond, and it was such a beautiful experience. So I had in mind that I wanted to knit her baby, who is due in January, some booties. I've always wanted to knit baby booties, never have, and I know you're sitting at home thinking like, Jamie, we know you've been knitting for like 20 years. We know you can steek a cardigan. Why can't you knit baby booties? I don't know. It's like a complete mental block. The construction, I can knit socks. I don't know. So I got it in my mind that not only was I going to knit baby booties, but I was going to design them on the fly while doing a gift knit. So I studied a bunch of patterns. I cast them on the other day while knitting with a friend. I know you're laughing at me right now. Actually, now that I look at this, I can see what went wrong. But in the end, I was not that happy with it. The toe shaping, which you can't even really see on here because this yarn is kind of busy. It went wonky, like right here. The what do you call it? Like the bottom of the foot went wonky. I mean, this looks, no judgment, but this looks like a beginner knitter disaster. And so this afternoon, I decided, you know what? Lots of babies like to be barefoot. There are lots of great cotton baby booties out there in the store. So I'm going to frog this, and I'm going to knit a nice baby hat. Because since baby will be arriving in January, he or she might enjoy a little hat for going out in cold Michigan weather. So that's my new plan. So not every cast on here is a success, but all you can do is try. So that is all for me, I believe. Yeah, I think we'll just make this a quick episode. This coming week is Christmas. I wish you all a Merry Christmas if that is what you celebrate. And I hope that the stress of the holidays and family gatherings and financial strain just kind of melts away from your soul, and that you are able to find rest and relaxation and just celebrating the joy that is the holidays. And so if I don't talk to you, let's see, I don't think I'll talk to you before the new year. So I'll also say Happy New Year. Thanks for joining me here, and until next time, happy knitting. Bye-bye.